fight fans, to episode 77 of the Hooks In MMA podcast. We've got a huge pay-per-view coming up this Saturday, UFC 271. So you best get that Bet365 account locked and loaded. But first, let me introduce this week's guests. We've got our third repeat guest. It's his third visit to the Hooks In MMA podcast, but only the second guest that have made a hat trick, and that's Jared Vanderaa. He's on the main card this Saturday, facing off against UFC legend Andrei Arlovski. So he's got a tough match ahead, but he's going to be talking a bit about his strategy and what he's been working on in the gym. Also looking ahead to next week's card, we've got a guest joining the show. His name is Parker Porter. He's on the prelims, facing off against a French fighter, Alain Badeau. And these are a couple of heavyweights, so that should be a banger next week. So make sure to tune into that interview and cheer him on next Saturday for the fight night. So kicking things off, we're just going to be looking back at the Strickland fight night card last week. Couple really good matches on that card we'll break down for you. But the majority of our time this week, guys, are going to be getting ahead of that book. Easy Line's got some great analysis for the Whittaker Adesanya rematch, as well as some of the other featured fights on that card. So, Zoni, why don't you kick things off and talk through what you thought of last weekend's card?
Yeah, I'll do a little rapid fire here. So, opening the card, fellow Canadian Malcolm Gordon put on the pressure quickly, and one of the nastiest arm injuries I've seen. Bondar put his, after getting an arm bar, getting out of it, he ended up putting his hand down up against the fence and completely, his elbow dislocated. So that was a crazy kind of win that I wasn't expecting. It was a little unfortunate for him, but good to see a fellow Canadian start off the card with a win. A guy that's going to be a huge problem moving forward is Jailton Almeida. He looked unbelievable. Going to be unstoppable moving forward. He climbed to 15-2, and this guy, I checked the salaries the next day. He was getting 10-10. Like, this guy's going to have to, renegotiate his contract, because how he looked was fantastic. Upset of the week was Chidi and Njokuani. His 16-second finish of fellow Canadian Marc-Andre Barrios. We knew this guy had the knockout power and the excitement in his fights. Didn't expect that one, but he looked fantastic. Also, fellow Canadian Hakeem Dawodu got back in the win column against Mike Trezano, who was our guest last week. It's a stand-up fight like usual. If you fight a Muay Thai fight against Hakeem, you're likely to lose. Funny enough, one of the best fights on the card was Arosa against Peterson. Peterson missed weight. Arosa ended up, his fight of the night, and ended up winning the split decision, taking home fight of the night from Peterson and himself. So he got $100K there plus his win bonus. He actually made the most money on the entire card because of that, which was pretty crazy. And I mentioned Dawodu in the same sentence because Arosa called out Dawodu, and I think there'd be a great fight. Probably the winner of that fight would hop into the top 15, somewhere around 14-15 in the featherweight division. So love to see that get booked. My guy, Shavkat Rakhmonov, 15-0 now with 15 finishes, spinning hook kick, and finished with ground strikes against Carlston Harris, who's been a guy that people have been talking up. He's got three fights in the UFC now. Shavkat with 3 finishes, and just jumped into the UFC rankings at number 15. So I know we've talked about some different matchups. Whoever they match him up against next, can't wait to see him back in there. The guy's got so much poise and so much skill. I love the guys that we have talked about this past week as being the up and comers that the welterweight division is much needed. Great to see that. And the main event, Strickland, obviously he's been making waves with some of the comments. He said some of the best post-fight comments that I've heard in a while, in terms of just comedy and making you smile and laugh, whether they're appropriate or not. He fought his fight. It's a stand-up fight. He wasn't able to be taken down. At one point, he was 9 for 9 takedown defense. I don't know what it finished at exactly, but he looked fantastic. In terms of excitement, he knows that he could have done much more. The last 10, 15 seconds he was calling him on. He knew he probably should have done that earlier, but he attributes that to all the people in suits telling him, "Oh, if you're going to get a title fight." So he was thinking, I just want my win bonus and I don't want to lose a title fight opportunity. So he did get the win. Saul D'Amato, who's one of my favorite judges, actually had Hermansson winning the fight, and people are calling for his head to be fired. I've never really seen a fight go to the judges and D'Amato have such a horrible scorecard. It was absolutely horrendous. But Strickland, he's probably not going to fight Vettori, which I thought he would because they're buddies. So he could maybe get a Cannonier versus Brunson, which is this weekend, if Whittaker can somehow win this next one. If not, he's kind of stuck in the middle of I don't really know who he's going to fight next, basically. But he did get the win, and excited to see what happens next for him.
Right. Yeah, just to jump in there. Yeah, no, I'm just really excited by just to kind of continue on Shavkat there in the welterweight division. Really excited about kind of the future there with Hamza coming up as well, Chimaev, right? I think that the kind of future of the welterweight division is great, and it shows kind of what's coming up there. So I don't know if any of our listeners here saw some things posted on Reddit there regarding the welterweight division and the wins over each other in the top 15 ranked current fighters, but it doesn't look pretty. I can't wait for some of these guys to kind of beat each other out. There's some great matchups coming up in the welterweight division, I think, over the next 12 to 18 months. So, really, really excited about that division. And, of course, the Arosa Pearson fight, potential fight of the year, was amazing. You can't ask for much. Yeah, Arosa, I think, talked more than Sean Strickland. I think Arosa was talking a lot at the third round there, which I loved, saying "come on, baby," and whatever else he was doing. I can't remember exactly, but all this stuff. So yeah, that was awesome to see. Those were kind of the two fights to highlight there for me from what I saw.
Yeah, Shavkat, man, he's the real deal, and it's gonna be fun to watch him over the next 5 to 10 years. So sky's the limit for that guy, that's for sure. Talking about sky's the limit, though, that's the same descriptor we can say for our Bet365 accounts on Sunday morning and into Super Bowl. So obviously big game Sunday night, a lot of props and different square betting going on. But in focus for us first is UFC 271. This one's happening in Houston, guys. So just quick call out there, big ring, big octagon this week. So definitely going to be favoring more of the rangy fighters, right? That can separate and just use distance control to their advantage. So I'll pass the mic over to Ziz. He's going to kick things off, recapping our performance last week, and we'll head right into our best bets. Let's get it.
Awesome. Thanks, Kranz. Well, yeah, to recap last episode, specifically easy lines, we went 3-0, took Strickland and the over in that fight, and Shavkat as well. So as we kind of already mentioned or alluded to, our kind of favoritism for him going into this year. So we're on a little bit of a run here to start 2022. 8 wins and 3 losses after 3 events. So 72% win rate for 2022. Overall career, we're sitting at a total of 156 wins, 98 losses, winning clip of 61.4% right now over just about almost 2 years now, about a little over 18 months now in total. So absolutely buzzing going into this weekend. We have a number of picks for you. Before I do that, though, if you are listening, please click the like button, support our channel. It's the biggest thing you can do to help us out right now. We're looking to grow and bring better MMA content to all you guys. So comment your thoughts below on the picks, and also anything we can do to improve the show. We're looking to always get better, of course. So let us know. And of course, we're always looking to discuss with you MMA fans what your thoughts are on the fight. So starting off here, we have main event middleweight championship. Rematch between Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker. Izzy, decent sized favorite coming in at minus 275, while Whittaker's an underdog at plus 225. Izzy, we all know, fast rising MMA career, obviously, so we know him well. He's undefeated at middleweight, 10 wins and 0 losses. Only 1 loss in the UFC was a higher weight division, taking on the champ and Jan Blachowicz at light heavyweight. Most recent win was a decision win, also a rematch against Marvin Vettori. Whittaker was an undefeated fighter in middleweight himself before he ran into Israel Adesanya. Since then, he's gone on a 3-fight winning streak, defeating Till, Jared Cannonier, and Kelvin Gastelum. Tail of the tape here, they're basically the same age. Adesanya is going to enjoy a large height and reach advantage, as he usually does in the against his middleweight opponents. There's just so much you can say with this fight. There's a lot. In my opinion, the general narrative, the narrative here is that Izzy is going to come in and, do his thing, which is, uses absolutely elite striking skills, try to pick away at Whittaker from the outside, turn it into a kickboxing match, right? He won't have to do anything too new or different to get a win again in this rematch. Whittaker, on the other hand, I think he has the ability to really influence the victory here by making some better decisions in this fight. Whittaker is the one that's going to have to bring the new game plan and get his opponent out of their comfort zone, which for Izzy is the grappling and ground game, right? Particularly his jiu-jitsu, as opposed to his wrestling. Izzy's takedown defense and defensive wrestling is very good, as we know. But once you get past there, he has some serious vulnerabilities. You saw it again against Jan in that fight where he was making fundamental mistakes in half guard. Now, he said he was bored in that fight and not as motivated for these fights as recent, as he said in some interviews perhaps, but it shows a bit of laziness in my opinion in terms of his training in these certain areas of MMA. And I don't really think he's done much to improve in those areas since. He's welcome to prove me wrong, but I think he'll continue to rely on his striking, and why wouldn't he? And sound defensive wrestling to kind of keep it on the feet, right? But I think Rob can really bring the fight and has the fight IQ to execute the right plan here. Rob had a tough couple of years with injuries. Going 10 rounds with Yoel Romero will do that to anyone and really drain you. And really kind of he was not ready or not mentally or physically ready going into that Izzy fight. He seemed a little weakened going into that fight. He was forced to sit on the sidelines when he watched this fast rising star come up the ranks and wasn't quite ready to face him at that time. He has much less pressure on him now, and I think he has a much better mindset. He'll be able to kind of take the time, he's able to kind of take the time after the Izzy fight, regroup, right? Work on his ground game and grappling. And he really saw that particularly in the Till fight and also with Gastelum. He's become a much more complete MMA fighter. And I think he's ready to take on this task against Israel Adesanya. But Izzy is an extremely hard puzzle to solve, obviously, and Rob doesn't have to get the takedown necessarily right away. He's probably going to miss the first 4 or 5, but it's about getting Izzy at least thinking about it and pushing him up against the fence and getting Izzy out of his rhythm. Because if you try to get him into a kickboxing match with him, you're going to lose every time. There's no one at middleweight that can beat him there. So, probably not even at light heavyweight either. So I wouldn't advise that for Rob. Rob's going to have to use his complete MMA game plan with the best performance he's ever had in order to beat Izzy here. Those performances against Romero were absolutely stunning, but he's going to have to go another level here and use a much more well-rounded and patient game than he even did the first time against Adesanya. My brain is telling me to go Izzy, and my heart wants to go Whittaker so badly. Most likely Izzy does win this fight, of course. That's why he's the favorite. I don't see a lot of value there, in my opinion. There's a lot of things that have to go Whittaker's way in order for him to win this fight. Yes, I do admit that. But I think his coaching is strong enough. He's a very cerebral fighter, and he has shown that even more in his last 3 fights. I see potentially Whittaker getting an arm triangle submission, or maybe taking the back rear naked choke in the 3rd or 4th round. Whittaker finish plus 550, excellent value. I also see it going to decision perhaps as well. I really like the over in this fight. Over 2.5 rounds is minus 250. Good to use in parlays. I'm also quite interested in minus 125 for the fight to go decision. I can see either of them winning by decision as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways you could go with that fight. It's obviously a tough one to call. The one thing you can say for sure is that Israel is going to have the advantage on the feet. What can Whittaker really do in the grappling to push the fight onto his side? I think it's going to take a couple rounds for that to happen, and Israel's not going to be able to lure him into the same traps that he was before. Whittaker was emotional going into that fight. So, yeah, over Whittaker by finish for value. Fight to go decision straight up minus 125. Put a unit on there. What are you guys thinking for this one?
No.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. This one's so hard. I was reading BJ Penn today, and I think they had 10 fighters pick. All 10 picked Izzy. Nobody picked Whittaker. It's like, I don't know. Like, look at how dominant. I'm not comparing them, but like, look at how dominant Nunez was, and Pena was able to crack that puzzle. And the betting lines were way more significant than this. Whittaker definitely has a chance. I don't know, man. I'm not giving any suggestions. I'm going to defer to you. I really don't know.
Yeah. Izzy should win this pretty handily. Terrible matchup for Robert. I was reading a bit about Robert's background. He's one of my favorite fighters, and he was planning on going to the Commonwealth Games in 2018 to do freestyle wrestling. I think he needs to lean on that freestyle wrestling in order to win this fight. And like you were saying earlier in our chat zone, if they're getting close in the phone booth, he's got to shoot. He's got to get on top of them and just, throw some elbows. He's got that really good front kick. I rewatched the which one was it? Oh, the Yoel Romero, where he won the interim championship, and he was just using that kick right up the middle.
Yep.
So maybe that will like set up a takedown. You throw that and then you go to shoot. But yeah, the odds are stacked against him. I am surprised he's not a bigger underdog. The line, it's a weird line. So I might just fade it, throw a little bit on Robert money line, just more for cheering sake, but not one you're going to make a ton of money on. Maybe the over. I don't know. It's a weird one.
I also read too, the biggest difference between like Jan and his game plan is he was like 238 pounds walking in, and Whittaker's nowhere near that. So I don't know if he can hold him down if he gets him down. So we shall see.
Yeah. It's the opposite, right? He used to be welterweight, not light heavy. So it's not looking good. But
well, the thing is that people try to take Izzy down. The reason why Jan was successful is because he tried to take him down more in the center of the octagon, and I believe that was even in the smaller octagon in Apex, that fight. I could be wrong on that, but he was able to still control him and get those takedowns in the middle of the ring. And when you try to take Izzy down against the fence, which was what Marvin Vettori was trying to do the entire time in their most recent fight, at least that I know of, it wasn't successful. If you try to do that, he knows what to do against the fence. If you get him in the center of the octagon, though, but again, Robert's going to have to, you're right, he's going to have to use his striking very expertly and patiently.
I just double checked. It was at the Apex, the black of it.
So
that plays a factor.
Exactly. So Jan was still able to get him, even though it's a smaller octagon, he still was able to lure him into these takedowns in the center of that octagon. So I think if he was able to, like, I think these middleweights coming up and potentially Whittaker, this fight, they're going to figure out Izzy. Izzy is not a complete fighter for MMA. He's absolutely fucking elite striker in the world. But like the stuff he was doing for jiu-jitsu, like, no, like against Jan, like now it wasn't the weight, wasn't a fact. Weight's not a factor on the ground like that. He was making fundamental mistakes in jiu-jitsu, Izzy was in that. And if he does that against Whittaker, like Whittaker gets on, if he ends up on his back in any possible way, Whittaker's potentially is going to end the fight. So, but is he going to get him there? That's a huge question, right? I think, like you guys said, more often than not, Izzy's going to win this fight. But I'm feeling some underdogs this weekend, which we're gonna see here leading up into this next one as well. Anything else to mention for the main event there, boys? Anything want to add on there?
Can't wait. We got 10 minutes left.
Okay, let's jump into it. So co-main event, the people's main event. It's absolute barn burner. What I like what Dan Hardy called this in his recent breakdown, which is a barbecue fight. Two real big boys, big guts, and something you'd see maybe on the street somewhere. And these guys are going to go out. Both their power is equal. Which is hard to say with how many knockouts Lewis has in the UFC, but I really think Tuivasa is on that level with him in terms of just straight power. You know, Ty's a little younger, a bit more technically sound in my opinion, extremely fast hands. You know, taking a look at the UFC stats online, much more output, but also absorbs more shots per minute than Lewis, right? So he's willing to kind of take a shot to give one. Ty's leg kicks, I think, are going to play a factor and key to his victory on Saturday, wearing him down a little bit. Same thing that Gane did to Lewis. He'd be very wise for him to take a look at that tape, which I'm sure he is, right? Lewis, obviously unreal power, but he gets tired very easily, right? The thing is that when he gets tired, he still always has that power. We've seen it many, many times. Volkov, he ended at the end of the third round. JDS, right? He had that thing where JDS, I think, front kicked him in the belly, and he turned, he was down, keeled over like that, and then he came with an over right hand.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so such a good moment. But he'll do stuff like that all the time, which I won't be surprised. I just think Ty can really take a shot himself. You know, some things on Lewis' side. You know, he's gone 7-0 in February, which, you know, a bit of a gambler's fallacy there, doesn't mean anything, but who knows? He loves to fight in the winter. But, you know, it is in Texas, Houston, Texas, right? So I think it's his hometown. I think he's going to feel extra pressure here. He's the type of guy that likes fighting away. He doesn't like fighting in his hometown. So I think he's going to be feeling a little extra pressure. And Tuivasa, he went 3 rounds with Andrei Arlovski. It's not easy to do. Decision win. So I'm going with Ty here. Plus 162. I like him as an underdog. That's good value. Under minus 200, like under 1.5, like might as well. Like it's not great value, but you might as well parlay that with the over in the main event. That's what I like to do, or what I'm going to be doing. Yeah. I mean, it's not gonna, like I said, you're not going to get a great value, but you certainly will. I think it's going to happen. Yeah, I don't see this getting very far at the first round, certainly. So Tuivasa first round plus 400. Good value there as well. What are you guys thinking?
Well, I'm a complete idiot. I'm sure a lot of people could tell you that about myself. But earlier on in the week, I wanted to know output, and Kron's Mr. Stats told us Tuivasa had way more output. Then I delved deeper into it, and Lewis actually is one of the best counter punchers, counter strikers. He waits for punches to come in, and then that's when he usually lands that right. So I'm actually going Lewis here. I'm going him by finish. It's minus 138. I know we talked about some nerves, but he's not going to be nervous at his age, and he's already fought an interim title fight against Cyril Gane. Like, he's been around the block. I don't think he really gets nervous. He, in my opinion, he's gonna take a few shots. It's not gonna put him away. He's gonna find that opening, and I think he's gonna finish the fight. I really do, and that's me going against what I originally said. For Ty. So, Ty has had some good wins, but never against a guy as high in the rankings as Lewis. And Lewis looked great against Dawkins. So Dawkins is obviously an up and comer. I'd actually eventually like to see Dawkins and Ty fight, but I'm gonna have to go against you on this one. I didn't really want to, but just looking a little deeper into it personally, I think Lewis is going to catch him on a counter.
Yeah, I got to side with Z on this just due to, I guess, both the value and I just think Ty's speed. He's pretty light on his feet for a heavyweight, and I think that gives Lewis a lot of problems, right? We saw that in the Gone fight, and I think he's just gonna kind of pepper him from the outside, and I don't know. I have a weird feeling that it may go the distance, just because I think Ty's smart enough to respect Lewis's power, and Lewis isn't overly aggressive either. So this could be kind of like a slower fight than a lot of people expect. A lot of people think it's first round finish for sure, but I'm not necessarily sold on that. Right? We sometimes see that in these like main card pay-per-view fights where no one wants to get knocked out in 10 seconds in front of the whole world on one of the biggest cards of the year. And I think they might just be a little more deliberate than if it's a fight night or a smaller pay-per-view buried on a prelim.
Makes a lot of sense, actually.
It's psychological thing, but I wouldn't read too much into that. I don't know. I have a weird feeling it could go to the cards.
You're right, Kranz. It has a bit of that feeling there, like same with that Lewis and Ngannou fight, right? Where it was like, everyone was like, it's going to end first round, 60 seconds, and never gonna, and then it was the most boring fight, right? So it has kind of that feeling of a trap bet, as they say, right?
Yes, contrarian pick.
Exactly. This might be. I like that overcall a little bit better now. So I'm going to take a little closer look at that, because over 1.5 is plus 150. So even if it's someone ends up with Tuivasa or whoever ends a second round, you're still got that in your back pocket. Fight to go to distance plus 350. Although Lewis probably, like, if Lewis is going to win, as Zone said, it's going to be by a counter punch early on. I don't see Lewis winning by that. Would be the ultimate. That would be even less likely than Ngannou winning by fucking. But yet Ngannou was plus 1,400 and Lewis is a plus 750 right now. So that's I guess that's a 5-round versus 3-round though. Yeah, that's that anyways.
But listen to this, Z. When's the last time you've seen a favorite pay plus 750 to win by decision? That's insane. That is insane.
Barbecue fight, baby. Like, love it.
Oh,
so good. But that Tai Tuivasa plus 800.
Yeah,
decision that looks a little lovely to me.
That's pretty good too. Like, just throw half a unit, and man, you're almost 10x your money.
So many units.
But me and Kranz could be proven wrong in about split second by Lewis overhand, right? So like at any time, that's the same. But yeah, like I just think Tuivasa. It's the same thing as last week in the main event. Strickland's on his way up. Hermansson had already hit his peak and is on his way down. Same thing in this fight.
Yes.
Tai Tuivasa is on his way up.
Upside.
Lewis has already fought all the best guys. He's old. He's on his way down now. And so like it's the same thing again in this fight, especially at an underdog, boys. Like, fuck, like, love it. So
stop, man.
Love
2 minutes, boys. 2-minute warning.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's go. Kenyon Brunson. Brunson, I don't understand how he's winning high-level fights with his technique and strategy. Yes, his wrestling is great. I understand that. But he puts himself in all sorts of weird, vulnerable positions. There's no fundamentals there. He never has 2 feet on the ground when he's punching. Like, his feet don't go with him when he's punching. His chin's out there. So, Cannonier used to fight at heavyweight. He's fought guys like Jan Blachowicz and fucking someone else, whoever almost beat John Jones the one time. I forget, Dominic Reyes. So, like, you know, he's fought unreal people. I'm going Cannonier here. He's a minus 170, though. So, you know, parlay that with something. Him by finish, plus 120. Ship it. That's all I got.
I got a 4-fight parlay of the week. I got Jeremiah Wells kicking off the card by finish, minus 138. Carlos Ulberg by finish, minus 138. Ronnie Lawrence by decision, plus 105. And Alex Perez, because he's been out of the cage for so long, gets the win against Matt Schnell, but by decision, plus 175. A $35 investment gives you $588.66. That is my parlay of the week.
Love that. Love that. I agree with Z's earlier statement. This feels like an underdog card. So, yeah, I'll just call out some of those ones for you. William Knight, really liking him, plus 140.
Yep.
Not so much an underdog, but plus money. Orlovsky by decision. I think that's a lock. And really liking Bobby Green by decision as well, which is
I like all those.
And then Kyler Phillips by finish. I think he gets the job done. Let's get it.
Next up on the Hooks In MMA podcast, we're lucky to have on again. Heavyweight, he fights on February 12th, UFC 271. Jared Vanderaa. How's it going today, man?
Exhausting. I don't know why. Okay, well, I do know why, but I am just fucking tired. Like, I just want to just crawl in bed and just sleep. And I'm not a person that sleeps. I'm not one of those people that like to sleep, but today is one of those days where I'm just like, maybe I should sleep for more than 10 minutes.
So is it a combination here of, the kids? I see you posting stuff about the kids. Is a combination, I believe you're at Syndicate. Combination of stuff there or what?
So yesterday I was in Vegas. I linked up with my boy Jamal, who trains at Syndicate now. So I enjoyed just going out there and training. And then immediately right after I got done with Syndicate, I ran to the PI where they tortured me for roughly an hour and a half. And then I came back down and, you know, just life and, excuse me. And then I had a long drive to Vegas and back. It's about 3.5 hours for me.
Okay.
Technically 4, but, you know, I drive like an asshole, so I cut off some time. But no, yeah, so I was in Vegas yesterday. I drove to and from yesterday, got some training in etiquette and my boy Jamal, and now I'm back home and, you know, running the business and training and all that jazz.
Yeah, so you got a lot of stuff going on. I saw recently, you did an Instagram call out of Tanner Bozer, Better Beard. You don't have the beard going now, but you did sign a fight. You're looking to get a W against Andrei Arlovsky. How did that fight come together? And, how do you see that fight going?
So the fight came together was out. So I was offered to fight, I believe, Chris Barnett, January 15th. I was like, cool, I'm down. I got medically cleared. I got my medicals done. The day I got all my medicals cleared, I called my manager up. I'm like, hey, I'm done. I'm good. He goes, bad news. I just got off the phone. Your opponent's hurt.
Okay.
I was like, and so I was like, damn, I did everything for nothing. And then for some reason, he was like, hang in there with me, see how it's going. So, for some reason, I had a feeling something might pop off. But by Sunday, I had heard nothing. I messaged my manager again. I'm like, hey, can I assume that I don't have a fight this weekend? He was like, yeah. But I was like, I'm like, I don't know why I have a feeling. Just eat clean. Don't do anything stupid. Just eat clean. Boom. So I'm eating clean. I'm trying to lose weight, and I'm just like I'm trying to pull my head out of my ass just to lose weight naturally. So I'm just like, I need to continue on this. And then Wednesday, I get a message from my manager. Or Wednesday or Thursday. It's like, hey, do you want to fight Orlovsky this weekend? I was like, fucking yes, I do. He was like, it's this week. I was like, I don't fucking care. I want to fight Orlovsky. That would just be an honor to punch the dude in the face. And he was like, all right, let me see what I could do. I'm like, all right. And then he was like, hey, how does Houston sound? I'm like Houston sounds like barbecue, and I'm down for it. And so that's kind of how that whole thing played out. And I'm excited to fight Orlovsky. And like in all due respect, like this motherfucking Orlovsky dude's been around for a minute. There's a lot of things I think we could learn on how to have a longevity in this sport and in the UFC by looking at what he's put up there. And honestly, he's kind of like, I'm not fighting like 3 or 4 years ago Orlovsky. I'm fighting the 4-1 Orlovsky.
Yep.
Like Orlovsky's doing all right, like I'm not fighting like I'm fighting a good Orlovsky, so I'm excited to actually be able to, display my set of skills on him. I'm just excited to have this fight, and yeah, no, I can't wait until I'm in Houston in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up quick, but my question for you is, from Chris Barnett to Arlovsky, obviously a big difference in terms of what they've done in the sport. Obviously, both, UFC fighters and have done some very good things, but Arlovsky, like you said, is more of a legend. How do you see yourself beating him without giving away like a game plan, obviously?
Well, I can see myself beating him in a few ways. I feel like if I could start landing big shots, not necessarily early, but when I need to land the big shots, I could slow him down and maybe, take him out. If it goes to the ground, I could see that there's opportunity for me to really capitalize there. But it's very, I don't see that one being the biggest place me and him take this fight, but it, weird things have happened,
Yep.
So I feel like you maybe beat him on the ground. I know that if he's one of those smarter fighters where he's not trying to stand there and just hunker down and just throw hard for 2.5 minutes. He wants to touch, get out, touch, get out. Yeah. So if I could play into that well and have him come in, counter it real well, slow him down one way or another, I think that would be the best bet. But I mean, he's an old dog and he has a lot of tricks up his sleeves. So, I can't just be like, oh, it's going to go this way. Dude's been doing this. And so you got to respect that and come at with he has something planned for A, B, and C, and he might have a backup for even that.
Yep.
So I am in there with him, just having that experience over me, but I definitely think I could, beat him, and I'm just excited to have this fight, to be honest.
Absolutely. Just not so serious matter. How are the kids doing? How's family? How's everything outside of work and fighting?
I'm looking for someone to take 2 kids because I am over it. What is that? They are wild. But I mean, honestly, everything's doing all right. Nothing spectacular. Nothing to be like, yeah, my life is something to be jealous about. Nah.
Well, I kind of wish. Well, I don't wish, but I kind of wish I was fighting Arlovsky in a couple weeks. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Well, that's the only thing that's special coming up is if punch Arlovsky. Outside of that, I have 2 kids. I mean, there's a lot of people with 2 kids, and they'd be like, yeah, they get wild after a minute. And I would be like, yeah, they do. I'm done with it. I quit. I feel sometimes I want to just go buy a gallon of milk and just, clear across Maine or something and, have a flat tire 10 times on the way back home, get struck by lightning.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's another day right now. I think it's camp's in full swing.
Yeah.
I give you the generic answers. Oh, camp's great. Family's great. We're all doing great. And it's a happy, loving environment. Everything's all right. Like, it's life.
Yeah, exactly. My second kid is almost 3 months old now. So I got that different kind of crazy than you do. I know your kids are a little older.
Mine's only like a month and a half older.
Oh, is that it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When was the birthday? Sorry.
August. So
August. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I have an idea, I guess. I got an idea.
I was like, I get the crazy. I'm over it. I'm not a baby person. Like everyone's like, oh, I love the baby stage. Nah, fuck that. I like toddler stage.
Yes, me too.
Like
Me too.
Like I hear all these women like, oh, baby stages, they're quiet, they don't do nothing. I'm like, yeah, that's a boring ass stage. Like
you just kind of keep them alive. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, and I'm a big dude. Like if I pick up my daughter wrong, she breaks in half. So I'd rather just have a toddler. For some reason, they're a little bit more rubbery. Like, you can bounce them off the bed a few times. And you're like, oh, you're not broken or dead yet.
They bounce back quick. The toddlers.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations again on that. On the second one there, and I'm really excited for this matchup. UFC 270 was awesome. 271 is going to be awesome as well. In Houston, Texas, Jaron Vanderaa against Andrei Arlovsky. We wish you nothing but the best, buddy. Hope to be lucky enough to speak to you again in the future. And good luck. This is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, bro.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Anytime.
No sweat.
Next up on the Hooks in MMA podcast, we're lucky to have on 12-6 heavyweight. He's currently riding a 2-fight win streak, and he's looking to make it 3 on February 19th on the Desanios Fazeev card. Parker Porter, how's it going today, man?
It's going good, man. I'm feeling pretty good.
Awesome. So just want to take you back a little bit. As a kid, did you, play some other sports? What ultimately got you into MMA?
Yeah. As a kid, I was all over the place with sports. I played baseball, football. I did a little bit of hockey, some lacrosse. And after high school, I was really big on my football, and I was a big old fat lineman when I graduated from high school, and I was all the way up to like 340 pounds. So I finally decided to get myself in the gym, get in better shape, take my diet more seriously, and get healthy. And then I got into really good shape. I'd lost a ton of weight. And to me, it was like kind of like, I'd have worked out anytime in the gym to get better at whatever sport I was doing to help improve my athletic performance. And I was in the best shape I'd ever been in with nothing to do. So I got into training, and I never really had any intentions of actually competing when I started. I just was looking for something to do and test it out and see, maybe learn a little bit about how to defend myself in a bad situation. And I ended up being kind of good at it, and I haven't looked back since.
What did you start out training in? Would it have been like boxing or jiu-jitsu or?
I actually started right in MMA.
Okay.
The gym I started in about 15 years ago was just an all-around fight club, I guess you'd call it. We didn't even do any traditional jiu-jitsu or boxing. We just kind of blended everything together and went with the flow. We're talking like back when season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter was just coming out.
Yeah, jump with 2 feet in for sure. I like that. I like that way of doing it. I'm sure you've probably been asked a lot of times, but your first professional loss was against John Jones. How was that experience?
Yeah, it was a short experience, and it very much like many of his opponents' experiences. It didn't go the way I was hoping it would.
Yeah, did you know about him, about maybe like the superstardom that he could be, something as special as
definitely not at the time. I mean, at the time I had signed up to fight him, and then like 6 weeks, it was like 6 weeks between agreeing to the fight and when we would actually fight. And I think he was like 5-0 or something like that, or 3-0 at the time we signed the contract. And then by the time the actual fight came around, he was up to like 7-0 or 8-0. He'd fought like 3 or 4 more times in between. And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And it was, you know, my first time trying to make the drop to light heavyweight, which we soon found out was not for me. And yeah, he just took off running, man. I mean, I knew after the fight, I was like, yo, you're gonna go far, man. Obviously he did. I didn't need to tell him that, but
Yeah. And then obviously you've had a successful career up until signing with the UFC. My question would just be, after that first UFC fight, what did you take away from that, and how have you kind of turned it around and got on this 2-fight win streak here?
I needed to get consistent with everything again. I was out of training when I took that fight. I was in between gyms. You know, COVID was at its relative peak. During the pandemic, the quarantine period was just starting to end. I had a 1 or 3-week-old baby boy at the time.
Congratulations.
And I was training like once or twice a week. Thank you. I was only training like once or twice a week, just hitting pads. I was super out of shape and overweight, like a lot of us got during the quarantine period. But you know, when you're chasing something like getting to the UFC for 14 years and they finally come calling, you don't go, well, I'm not ready. Call me back. You know, like you just go, all right, cool, let's do it. You know, I'm going to do my best with what I got, and then we'll show you what I really can do on the next one.
Absolutely, and you have. In terms of your opponent, I've actually watched him his fight before he made it to the UFC was in TKO. I'm near Toronto, so not too far away from where that promotion is taking place. Alan Baudot, what do you think about him, and how do you ensure that you know, after your first loss in the UFC, you've had 2 straight wins here? How do you make sure after his first loss in the UFC that he doesn't, you know, get a win here? How do you stop that?
I think I kind of just stick with my basic game plan. Keep it pressure. You know, like he's a talented kickboxer. I've seen some of his fights. You know, I think we're just going to be looking to do what we always do, and we're going to come to fight and do everything we got to do to make sure we walk away with that W. Leave it all in the cage.
Absolutely. Outside of training, what are some of the hobbies you may have?
Man, I don't feel like I have a ton of hobbies right now. I'm just kind of training. I recently opened my own gym here in New Britain. We're getting that going. So that's been pretty much all my free time. And then obviously taking care of my kids. My older boys I got twin 8-year-old boys. They're playing basketball. So we're getting them to practice, getting them to their games, going and cheering them on, and just trying to make sure life isn't boring for them. They're like, oh, you stay at home while I go train. You're like, no, we're going out. We're going doing this. You know, we're going to go have some fun. So I would say right now, getting my gym going and having fun with my kids when I can is my hobbies.
I think that's definitely constitutes as hobbies. I got 2 young boys myself, and I'm a basketball coach, so I can't wait to get them in that, and one of my favorite sports. So kudos to you for that. We finish up by, yeah, no problem. We finish up just with a between round segment. It's 1 minute. I'm going to ask you a question. You give me your best answer. Okay. Favorite sport other than MMA?
Sure. Football.
Favorite team?
Tennessee Titans.
Oh man, that was a tough loss.
Yeah, it was.
I've been a Bucs fan for 25 years, so losing at home there against the Rams was tough as well.
Must have stung. Yeah.
Who do you like to win it all?
I don't know. I can't pick for that one. I'm sorry. I don't have a dog in that fight, so I'm kind of like
No, I
just looking forward to a good game and an entertaining time. You know, Super Bowl is like a freaking, you know, worldwide holiday, nationwide holiday here in America. So
yeah,
it's gonna be a good time.
I'm gonna throw out. I think the Rams are gonna win, and last year Tampa was the first team to win in their own stadium. So I think it might happen back-to-back years. That's my prediction.
That'd be cool. I'll take that. I'll jump on that with you.
We'll
go with the Rams in their own stadium.
What's your favorite kind of music?
I listen to everything. I'm a big rock fan. It was probably like my first real musical love was rock and heavy metal, but I listen to it all, man. I like hip hop, rap, funk, classic blues, everything.
Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie? Ooh, that's a good one. Cinderella Man.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good movie.
Yeah.
And
I think that's my all-time favorite.
Last one, just a couple of your favorite mixed martial artists of all time.
Of all time. Got it. Obviously, Anderson Silva. I was always a big fan of watching. Actually, a big fan of John Jones. He's an amazing fighter. Yeah, I think I got to go with Anderson Silva though as my all-time favorite. It was just really, as much as I love seeing John Jones do everything that he does. I mean, the guy's a monster in the cage. I just felt like I was really more kind of captivated with what Anderson was doing at the time.
Not a bad choice. If John Jones, just to ask you, off topic a little bit, if John Jones fights either Stipe, Ciryl Gane, or if Ngannou gets, through his injury and his surgery, how do you like his chances against those three guys?
I think he's got great chances. He's obviously he just completely dominated at 205. He was amazing down there. I think I think he walks away with the W with just about any one of those three. Yeah. I think he not only walks away with it, but like takes it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him back in there. He's one of my favorite too. Obviously, he's had some trouble outside of training and fighting, but
yeah,
hopefully he's fixed that for good. Any sponsors, shout outs, or social media to finish up?
No sponsor shout outs right now. Just check out my gym when you get some time. Heavy Hitters Club. We're over in New Britain, Connecticut. Big thanks to my Muay Thai coach, Crew Ed Thornton. My wrestling coach, Kia Galampur, and my longtime training partner and my go-to guy, Dan Fraser.
And Parker Porter, he's a heavy hitter himself, and you can see that on display February 19th. Looking forward to your fight. Can't wait to see you go three wins in a row here and see what's next for you. Good luck for you, sir. And this is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.